why I feel those around you, your granddad, grandma, should likely supplement creatine. Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Consistency Club podcast. If you're new here, welcome. If you're coming back, welcome back. Today we're going to be discussing creatine. Now, as you saw from the intro, particularly why everyone should be taking creatine. Okay, well, I'm not necessarily talking about its relation to performance enhancing in the gym and our fitness routines and in sports. I'm talking about everyday life, longevity, quality of life, energy, all of these things, and how it can actually benefit us outside of the gym as well. And I think that's an important narrative in conversation. And the conversation's quickly and becoming like, why wouldn't you supplement creatine? But I'm not sure that's a mainstream conversation yet, considering it's a supplement you can walk into your local Tesco, other supermarkets available, and pick up a tub of creatine and buy it straight away. The accessibility is now there. We have over 40 years of test data studies on creatine, its efficacy, its performance enhancing effects, its benefits outside of that. And yet, I don't believe enough people utilize it as a supplement within their life. And that is solely down to knowledge, understanding, and education. So hopefully you find some value. And even like when I relate it to people's business and their career and their cognitive function, creatine has now proven to have huge benefits just in terms of mental acuity as well. So it can go a long way in your life and isn't just have to be about getting in the gym and lifting an extra 20 kilos or 45 pounds on a bench, for example. So that's the conversation that we're going to be getting into today. And as I said by the intro, why I believe you, like your circle, your spouse, your granddad, your grandma, should be supplementing creatine. So first things first, what I've done is utilize, and it's a bit of a buzzword, utilize ChatGPT here. So what I've asked ChatGPT, and it's an interesting paradigm shift. I'm going to digress for a minute. Intelligence is like traditionally, we've got street smart, we've got common sense, and we've got academia. So how academically clever is that individual? We now have to add into that mix, how good is that individual at leveraging AI? That is going to become a currency for someone's intelligence. And it's just interesting to see how that works. I'm not a catastrophist. I don't believe that AI is going to come in and, end the world, supersede us and wipe us out. I'm just not. But I do believe people, businesses, services are going to be left behind if you don't understand how to appropriately leverage AI within your life. And I don't even just mean a business sense, but simple tasks like what I've done today. How can you utilize it to enhance the information that you're going to deliver? Within a business, how can it streamline process flows, workflows, project management for you? It's interesting. It is so interesting, and it's a conversation that's going to continue to develop. Obviously, ChatGPT is more mainstream now, and again, we hear about it every 5 seconds, and we're starting to see it embedded into softwares that we can use, be it in social media, etc. And more companies coming out with their version of it, but it's going to be an intricate part of our life now moving forward. So it's important we get to grips with it. But anyway, as I said, I'll digress a little bit. What I've used it to do is highlight some really simple key terms, not necessarily in my words, but in a way that is going to be easily digestible for you. You may be listening to this walking, on the treadmill, on your commute from work, like wherever you're listening to this. So we don't want any fancy words. We don't want too much science. We want the cold, hard facts in simple form to hopefully give you some education and promote or prompt action your end. I would love you after listening to this to go and, whether you go on, an online website or whatever, or Amazon, or you go down to your local Tesco, other supermarkets available here in the UK. Obviously, maybe, I don't really know, US, what's US? Walmart, Costco, whatever it may be, and grab yourself a tub of protein. That's an interesting thing about protein. Again, like we're talking about a supplement that is so readily available. You can go into pretty much any supermarket or supplement shop on the street, and you'll find creatine there as a supplement. We've got 40 years of test data on this supplement, and you can just go and grab it whenever you want. No prescription. There's no limitations for anyone that can buy it, age groups, etc., etc. And that is because it's proven itself to have almost no risk in most cases across 40 years of test studies, but incredible benefits as well. And those benefits, as I explained earlier, supersede just in training. So just to start and summarize creatine in itself, and many of you listening, like, I'm not here to patronize you will have heard of creatine. I'm going to base this on the fact that someone listening may not. So bear with me whilst I just summarize. And again, I'm using chat GPT's terms here to try and make it as simple as possible. To summarize, how it works in terms of energy currency, ATP. Firstly, I will summarize what spit your words out, ATP is. And it stands for adenosine triphosphate. Now, this is, in as simple terms as possible, the energy currency for the body. Everything that we do, this movement, like anytime I move, anytime I blink, anytime I'm lifting a weight in the gym, anytime like I'm in a cognitive flow and I'm thinking, like, all of these bodily functions are essentially facilitated by the chemical reaction that happens with ATP, alongside creatine and ADP. Now, to summarize what ATP is, ChatGPT summarizes it as an organic compound that provides energy to drive and support many processes in living cells, such as muscle contractions, nerve impulse propagation, and I'm not sure how nerve impulse propagation is warranted in a simple explanation, but there you go. And also notes found in all known forms of life. So adenosine triphosphate, ATP in simple terms, is just the energy currency of the body, and it facilitates, it gives us the energy that we need to move, contract our muscles, etc., etc. Now, in terms of how creatine works and why supplementing creatine helps. Now, creatine is naturally occurring in the body. We also get creatine in terms of supplementing from diet in things like red meat, for example, is really high in creatine. But in terms of how it works, again, ChatGPT summary. So in a resting muscle, excess ATP transfers its energy into creatine. So you can already see the tie-in. This produces ADP and creatine phosphate. And again, if you're supplementing, by the way, you want to look for creatine monohydrate. Creatine monohydrate is a supplement, is the one that pretty much all of the tests have been done on, all of the studies have been done on. And it doesn't matter, you get these like premium high-end ones, literally just get, if it says creatine monohydrate, you're fine. Going back, so this acts as an energy reserve that can be used to quickly create more ATP. So it's the energy reserve that sits within a relaxing muscle. When the muscle starts to contract and needs energy, creatine phosphate transfers its phosphate back to ADP to form ATP and creatine. And that serves as the spark, the energy source, essentially. And again, summarized in simplistic form. So you can start to understand already why supplementing creatine would be beneficial, right? It increases your stores. You can facilitate more of those chemical reactions before that store is burnt out. And then you talk about aerobic and anaerobic thresholds and everything, and we won't go into that today. Now, what I want to focus on, of course, like the physical benefits are, they're spoken about often. You could Google creatine now and a million videos would come up on the benefits that it has in terms of getting in the gym, like lifting more weight, like faster muscle contractions, type of all these kind of things, right? What I'm really focused on today, first of all, because recovery is a big part of everyday life, specifically for someone who has a fitness routine or who plays sport on the side, or who is in a job that demands a lot of their body. So, if you're in a trade or a laborer, and you've got just a high expenditure every day, so important that you're recovering. Now, creatine has been shown to reduce muscle cell damage and inflammation. So immediately alone, whether you get into the gym and you work out or not, you can start to see the benefit. Outside of that, it's also shown to improve cognitive acuity in those times where you have, you need your productivity to be high. Let's say you're in sales, business development, or a founder, whatever it may be. You've got to stand up and deliver a presentation, whether it's to your team, whether it's to stakeholders, whether it's to prospects. You want to be at the top of your game. You want to make sure you are cognitive, you are fluent, you have the knowledge in your head, but you need to be able to access that knowledge in an instant and pin that knowledge together in a way in which it flows organically and you can relay your message across. If by supplementing creatine, you can get an extra 10% out of yourself in that field, then it is absolutely worth doing. Like, without a doubt. And in terms of the science of how it does that, the same way it benefits you in the gym. Like, the energy systems that creatine operates on are the ones, like I said, nerve propagation within the body. Same way with neurons in the brain. Everything is energy. All we are is just a bundle of energy. So it could improve that as well through the ATP synthesis. In terms of health longevity, and this one's really interesting, and I've been improving my knowledge on creatine to ensure that for my clients who I serve, I'm recommending it to everyone that should be having it. And that is quickly turning into pretty much everyone, to be honest with you. One of the really interesting one was mitochondrial function within the body. Bit of a tongue twister, that one. Creatine has now been linked to improve mitochondrial function, which is, of course, like crucial for cellular energy production. And I'm just reading here as well. Antioxidant properties. It exhibits antioxidant properties, helping to neutralize free radicals that can contribute to aging. Like we all, that strikes a chord with all of us, and various health issues. Those various health issues include nothing other than, of course, cancer. Like we've all heard of the link, free radicals, dead redundant cells within the body. We should all be aiming in terms of like antioxidants, getting as much in as possible. I talk to my clients a lot, and maybe we'll do another podcast on this about liposomal glutathione or glutathione as a supplement in general. Blueberries and fruits that are high in antioxidant properties. So if you can supplement creatine, and not only is it going to give you extra in the gym, not only is it going to give you more mental acuity, better cognitive function in your workday, but it's going to help with mitochondrial function within your body. And not only that, antioxidant properties to help get rid of free radicals. Where are we losing here? And this is when like the conversation turns to like, who shouldn't be supplementing creatine? I remember when I was 16, starting to get into the gym, and creatine was still really popular back then. There was less known about it, and although we've had 40 years of studies, I think the last sort of 15 years have been really, really pivotal in proving its efficacy. But back then there was like, is it maybe if you load too much, it can be bad for your liver and all these things. Like that's not a thing anymore. So what is the conversation? Why aren't people supplementing creatine? And again, creatine is a mainstream supplement. Creatine is in all of your local supermarkets. I can go on Amazon right now, or you can go on Amazon and put an order in for creatine. It'll be with you tomorrow. You don't have to show anything. There's no prescription. It's literally like protein powder. Yeah, I would love to know the ratio of people that supplement protein powder compared to supplementing creatine. Now that's going to be an interesting one, and maybe we can find that data out. Maybe we'll do some live research. I'll be my own Jamie from Joe Rogan Experience. Hopefully this doesn't mess up the recording. Here we go. Let's go. Let's use our old friend, ChatGPT. What's the ratio of people who supplement just protein powder with protein? Bear with me, guys. This doesn't make for great viewing or listening, but we will get an answer. Supplement just protein powder with protein and creatine. Let's see if that was a coherent question that it's going to give us an answer in. It's loading, it's pending, but that is an interesting conversation. Whilst it does that, here we go. Protein powder is widely used supplement, of course. It's common for people to use both protein powder and creatine in combination as part of their fitness and nutrition regime. We know. Okay, absolutely useless. And that is why you shouldn't be concerned that AI is going to take over the world. Essentially, it hasn't got a clue. But it would be interesting to know. But outside of that, what is the ratio of people that have a gym membership? They have some sort of like health and fitness regime, yet don't supplement creatine. Maybe they have done, but they don't supplement it consistently. All right, what is the number of people over the age of 50 supplementing creatine? What's the percentage of people over the age of 60 supplementing creatine? Because I believe that number is extremely low. Extremely, extremely low. And just from the very, very minute detail that I've given you in simplistic terms on the benefits of creatine as a supplement, you can start to understand the question, why are people not supplementing it? And this is something I'm very, very passionate about. I have felt the benefits and the positive effects of creatine in my own health and fitness journey. With that being said, what I've done over the last 6 months is taking a break and noted down every day as part of my journaling in the morning how I feel mentally compared to the previous 6 months. And genuinely, when I then, I do a bit of a load on creatine, so I'll go from 0 to 15 grams for 3 days and then down to 5 grams. So you should aim to take around 5 grams a day. And you don't have to load, by the way. I just load because of my fitness regime. I noticed improvements cognitively. I noticed improvements energy-wise. I noticed improvements when not just in the gym, resistance training, but when I played sport, when I played football. Run a little harder, run a little bit further. And then I start to question, okay, why wouldn't you? Now, one thing to note with creatine is it will cause you to hold a little bit more weight than you naturally would without taking it. It's not fat, it's water. What creatine does is it will draw water into the muscle, so you retain that water. Okay, now, yes, you're gonna, be slightly heavier on the scales. It's not too much, but you are going to be slightly heavier. But that water is going to be where you want it. It's going to be intracellular. It's going to be in the muscle. So again, I personally don't really see that as a negative. And if you're in bodybuilding, even these days, when you're meant to be on stage and you've got to be lean, sub 10% body fat, veins, abs. I still know bodybuilders that will just keep creatine in. You can't cheat condition. They're either lean or they're not. And actually it can help keep a little bit of fullness. So that narrative is slowly going away as well. So the whole purpose of this podcast and my motivation for bringing this up as a subject is because I want you to seriously question, why are you not supplementing creatine? And that's a question that I pause there for a minute, just so you can reflect on that internally. Why would you not implement it within your life? And what's likely going to happen is whoever listens to this, and again, we're all human and it happens. If you're not supplementing now, you may be thinking, okay, yeah, I can see. Maybe I should be supplementing it. You're likely not going to do anything about it. So if you are listening, be that one person that goes, whether it goes to Tesco or order it tonight, order yourself some creatine and start supplementing it and make a daily note of how you feel. How you feel mentally, how you feel energy-wise, how you sleep, how you perform in your exercise routine, whatever it is that you're doing. Journal it and see the positive impacts for yourself, because once you see that data, once you felt the positive impacts within your life, it then becomes easier just to consistently retain that as a habit, a routine, to always have creatine in your supplement cupboard. I will supplement creatine for the rest of my life. Now, to stress, I do deload off it. So data says you need around 5 grams to keep your stores topped up. Now, traditionally, there's been an emphasis on a loading phase. So early on when you take creatine, 15 or 10 to 15 grams for 5 days, and then drop back down to 5 grams. And then depending on protocol, run this for 2-3 months, have a month off, run it for 2-3 months, have a month off. I've been running 5 grams of creatine consistently, pretty much every single day, bar the odd week, couple of week holiday, etc., or times where I haven't had it in the cupboard, for not far off a decade. And that is something that you should look to implement within your life. No doubt in my mind. So if you take one thing from this podcast episode, I would stress, if you're not taking it already, get yourself some creatine, build it into your daily routine to take it every day, just in the morning with a glass of water, and start feeling the effects. And if you're not sure, start noting down the effects at least. And I have no doubt, when we're talking about things like the antioxidant effect, mitochondrial function, that scales over time. You're not going to see the benefit over 6 months in terms of health and longevity. But if you took and you didn't supplement creatine, against you who did supplement creatine, and you compare their trajectory over 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, the data is now telling us that version 2 will have better health longevity, and a better health trajectory at literally pretty much zero risk from taking the supplement. And I know which side of the fence I'd rather sit. So get yourself some creatine, test it out yourself, see the positive benefits. And you may be someone, and it's so easy to do, who's utilized creatine many, many times, but you utilize it until the tub runs out, and then you don't really have it for a month, 2 months, and then you get another tub, and then it's very, very sporadic. Try and implement some consistency. In the name of the podcast, try and implement some consistency in when you're taking that creatine. I believe, like with anything, doing something sporadically, not building that habit of taking it, and not, it's not going to benefit you as much. You're leaving progress on the table. So supplement it consistently. If it helps you get a subscription to creatine, on any site now, you can, even on Amazon, I believe, you can subscribe. It's usually cheaper to do so. Might cost you $10 every 2 months these days, because creatine price has gone up a little bit slightly because of inflation in markets and stuff, but it's still, one of the cheapest supplements out there. Might cost you $10 every 8 weeks, maybe. And just consistently take it as part of your routine and feel the benefits. So hopefully you found value in this episode of the Consistency Club podcast. Many more to come. Drop a comment below if you're on YouTube on the topics, on supplements, on anything that you would like me to discuss here. Okay, anything health, fitness, longevity, performance related, muscle building, fat loss, whatever it may be. My job here is to bring topics to you and information to you that hopefully inspires you to take positive action within your life. And hopefully today you're going to go get yourself a tub of creatine. I'll see you in the next one.